on, you guys? We're gonna be reacting to another video by Shrouded Hand. This is called the worst torture I've ever heard of, so it's probably gonna be disturbing. If you don't like disturbing videos, then this video is not for you. But if you do,
hello everybody, Shrouded Hand here. I was thinking while I was working on my Robert Badella video, the worst kind of tortures must be those inflicted by a sadist who knows that they're going to kill their victim. Torture as corrective punishment or to extract a confession usually requires the victim to be alive at the end of it. The torture killer, however, can inflict the sort of injuries that your regular torturer cannot. It must be of a particular horror to the victim when they realise that there's nothing they can say that will make the torture stop, and there's no limit to the types of trauma that can be inflicted on their body. And there's certain acts when I hear about them that really bring home the depth of a torturer's sadism. Details that show how the torturer has thought long and hard about the most sensitive parts of their victims' bodies and how to inflict the most pain on them. Torture of the urethra, for example.
No. Don't. Your urethra, my tip, bro. Oh no, that's the one. Nah, bro.
In my video on Pee Wee Gaskins, I talked about how he claimed to enjoy stuffing rough lumps of lead known as a plum bum up a woman's urethra before killing her, something that he says caused them tremendous pain. The serial
I bet, man.
Killer Albert Fish liked to stick the stems of roses into his own urethra.
His own? Bro, you fucking freak.
It's not known if he did this to any of his victims, but it's thought that a lot of the tortures that he inflicted on his own body he would also do to the children that he murdered.
Oh my god.
As evidenced by this post, even if you take the large thorns off a rose, the stem is covered in thousands of microscopic upward-facing thorns that make the stem very difficult to remove without significant tearing.
This shit reminds me of like one man, one jar, bro. Like the glass getting stuck in his booty hole and shit. God damn, man, it's too graphic.
Luckily, when this poster visited hospital, he wasn't treated by Donald Harvey, one of America's most prolific serial killers.
You look like a straight bitch, bro. Fucking weirdo. Beat his
Between
ass.
the years of 1970 and 1987, Harvey worked as an orderly in various hospitals. During this time, his colleagues gave him the nickname the Angel of Death because he often seemed to be the last person to see a patient before they died.
Man, he working at hospitals. Fuck, man, they're so cooked, man. Imagine being in the hospital and then fucking serial killer's your fucking, like, doctor, bro. You're cooked.
After his arrest in 1987, the reason became clear. Donald Harvey was killing the patients himself. His job as a hospital orderly meant that he spent a lot of time alone with elderly or dying patients, giving him ample opportunity to help them on their way. Most often he poisoned his victims, putting cyanide and rat poison into their food or injecting it directly into their bloodstream. Others he would smother with a pillow or simply hook up their ventilators to empty oxygen cylinders.
And imagine you have a family member who got in a car accident or some accident, you know, they're in the hospital, man, and then like you praying on their health, hoping they make it through, and then you end up finding out like they died, you know, and then you're like thinking it's like, okay, it's because of the accident. Then later you find out their fucking doctor killed him, bro. Like, god damn, man, that shit fucked me up.
Hospital patients that he poisoned. After a quarrel with one of his neighbours, he deliberately infected her with hepatitis. Another neighbour he killed by putting arsenic in her food. He repeatedly poisoned his boyfriend and his boyfriend's parents, killing the father and sending the other two to hospital.
Holy shit, man.
Donald Harvey's exact body count is unknown, with estimates
I'm about to say, bro. Damn, there's so many bodies.
ranging between 50 and 87 victims.
Damn, man.
He always maintained that he'd killed the hospital patients out of mercy, picking victims that were in pain or near death.
And let God do that, man. That's not your fucking job, man. Oh, I killed him for mercy. Man, let God do that shit. What the fuck? You'd probably still be alive, man.
Simply
talking about, oh, mercy. Nah, bro. You know why you did that. It's because you sick.
Helping those that were dying to pass more easily.
Right.
The death of one of his victims, however, paints a very different picture and suggests that malice, spite, and pure evil played a role in his killings. During his first year working as an orderly, Harvey had already killed at least 10 patients.
Bitch.
One patient, 81-year-old Ben Gilbert, seems to have grown suspicious of Harvey and accused him of trying to kill him. Some sort of altercation ensued, during which the elderly man picked up a bedpan and smashed Harvey over the head, knocking him out. When he recovered later that night, Donald Harvey snuck into Ben Gilbert's room and proceeded to change his catheter. Harvey deliberately picked a catheter that was too large, forcing it into Gilbert's urethra with great difficulty.
Oh, man. You put that shit in his urethra, bro. It's probably gonna get worse. He probably gonna fucking inject some crazy ass fluid, bro. Holy fuck, man. This shit's fucked.
He took a straightened wire coat hanger and pushed it down the catheter
all
the way into Gilbert's bladder.
Oh.
With some force, he pierced the coat hanger through the wall of the bladder and up into the abdomen. The resulting infection caused by this injury killed Ben Gilbert within a few days. This wasn't exactly
you still alive, man. Fuck.
A mercy killing. The forceful penetration of genitalia in this.
Talk about, I'm just doing it for mercy, you know, because they're suffering and I want to make it easy for them. Right, and you fucking sticking motherfucking wires and fucking needles in motherfuckers' urethras, bro, to their bladder. Like, right, for mercy.
Way are the actions of a brutal sexual sadist.
Yep.
Speaking of brutal sadism, let's segue to the rather aptronymically named Randy Kraft. On May the 14th, 1983, Randy Kraft's car was pulled over after two California Highway Patrol officers observed him driving erratically. What seemed like
a dead body or some crazy shit in his car.
A simple DUI arrest suddenly turned much more serious when they discovered the dead body of Terry Lee Gambrell slumped in the passenger seat, bearing obvious strangulation marks. After arresting Kraft, they searched his car and his house. They found numerous pornographic photographs of young men, along with many personal items belonging to those men. Many of those men had previously been found murdered, and their deaths were still unsolved. Police also found a coded list of 61 items divided into two columns. Kraft explained that this was a list of guests for a planned surprise party. It was in code so that the surprise wouldn't be spoiled if it was discovered. In actual fact, the code words seemed to correspond to many of the unsolved murders. Some of the code words mentioned locations where bodies had been found. For example, 7th Street probably refers to Ronnie Jean Weeb, whose body was thrown from a moving vehicle on the 7th Street on-ramp to the San Diego freeway. He died of strangulation, but before his death
not San Diego, bro.
He had been hung upside down and tortured. His skull was fractured from blunt force trauma. There were bite marks all over his body, including his genitals, and a sock had been stuffed into his rectum. His body had been redressed before disposal.
What the fuck, man?
Euclid seems to refer to Scott Michael Hughes, whose body was thrown onto the Euclid Street on-ramp on the Riverside Freeway in Anaheim.
We're just tossing fucking bodies all over California, dog.
He had been drugged and tortured. His genitals had been split open with a knife. His left testicle was missing. The cause of death was strangulation. Once again, the body had been redressed before it was thrown from the vehicle. Other code words seem to correspond to what he did to the men that he killed. For example, Twiggy probably refers to the body of James Dale Reeves, found posed in a Y position with a large branch protruding from the rectum.
Bro.
About 40 of...
Motherfucker taking, like, testicles, doing shit to rectums, urethra. Like, bro, you probably went through, like, hella shit as a kid, bro.
The listed code words could be attributed to an unsolved murder, leaving 20 or so possible corpses that still haven't been discovered. The method of killing was similar across most of the identified murders. Kraft would often pick up these men at gay bars or just out on the street. He would then ply them with alcohol and sedative drugs, then bind and torture them. Often they would be burnt with a car cigarette lighter. He particularly liked to burn the eyes, nipples and genitals. Some bodies were found with the nipples chewed off or the eyelids removed with a knife.
Chewed off, bro? God, this motherfucker a freak, bro.
He also liked to mutilate their genitals in bizarre ways, skinning the penis or splitting it in half, removing the testicles.
Bro.
Most of the bodies had been found with a foreign object inserted into the rectum.
Bro.
Often it would be a sock, but sometimes it would be other things like a toothbrush or a wooden stake. The cause of death was...
He's gonna get that treatment in prison, right? He went in prison, right? You probably got killed in prison like Dahmer and shit. Like, I know they treated his ass in prison, bro. They probably did all the same shit he did to these victims. They probably did all the same shit to him, bro. The prisoners.
Usually strangulation with a leg.
Cause in California too? Oh yeah, they on him.
Although some men died of alcohol poisoning or from being suffocated in some other way. And of course, given the subject of this video, many bodies showed signs of urethral torture. For example, code word GR2 refers to the double murder of Dennis Patrick Alt and Christopher Schoenborn. They were last seen at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in Grand Rapids.
187 is crazy.
Their strangled bodies were found in a field several miles away. Both had alcohol and diazepam in their bloodstream. Before Christopher Schoenborn had died, a ballpoint pen bearing the Grand Plaza Hotel insignia had been rammed into his urethra with such force that it had punctured the soft tissue of his pelvis, causing severe hemorrhaging.
Oh my god.
One of the most gruesome murders was the killing of Mark Hall, code word New Year's Eve, because he was picked up after leaving a New Year's Eve party. His body had been burned in many places with a car cigarette lighter, including the eyeballs, nose and genitals. A plastic object later identified as a cocktail stirrer had been jammed into his urethra so far that it had
he does it to everyone, bro. No one's safe.
Penetrated the bladder. His penis was also sliced off and stuffed into his rectum. I'm not sure whether that occurred before or after the cocktail stirrer was forced into the bladder, but pondering both possibilities brings up some sickening mental imagery.
Yeah.
The cause of death for Mark Hall was a combination of poisoning and strangulation. A large amount of dirt was found compacted in his throat. It's thought that his mouth had been repeatedly filled with dirt, then he'd been choked or forced to swallow it. Randy Kraft was eventually charged with the murder of 16 men, those being the ones where there was enough evidence to definitively tie him to the killings. But given the extensive list found in Kraft's possession, plus the fact that many of the code words referred to double murders, it's thought that he may have killed up to 65 young men in the 11 years that he was active.
Man, I think they probably... I don't know what happened to him. But they probably give him the death penalty, but they shouldn't, bro. They should let his ass go to prison so these prisoners could fucking treat his ass the way he fucking deserves, bro. Fucking death is showing mercy, bro.
And so, because I've been working up to the very worst case in this list, it's time to introduce Dean Arnold.
Wait, that was not the worst? You've been working up to the worst? Bro.
Cole.
Fuck.
Dean Cole was known as the Candyman for 2 reasons. One, for his habit of handing out free sweets to the neighbourhood kids when he was working for the family candy business, and 2, for his uncanny ability to groom and manipulate young boys. The 30-year-old Dean Cole would often invite teenage boys back to his house to party, promising them booze, pot and solvents. This gave him easy access to drunk and stoned young boys, many of whom came from broken homes and disreputable backgrounds. The types of boys that might not be noticed if they suddenly went missing. Between 1970 and 1973, Dean Cole abducted and murdered at least 28 boys from the Houston Heights area in Texas. His victims ranged between the ages of 13 and 19.
Man, what's up with Cali and fucking Texas having crazy motherfuckers, bro?
Testament to his powers of persuasion, he even enlisted the help of 2 other teenage boys. David Brooks and Elmer Henley were reportedly paid $200 each for every boy that they brought to Cole's house. At first he told them that he was selling the boys into sexual slavery, but by the end of his killing spree they knew exactly what he was doing with them, having witnessed him torture and kill multiple people, even taking part in the killings themselves, as well as helping him to bury the bodies. All of the victims ended up on the plank, a large plywood board with handcuffs and nylon ropes at the corners. The boys would be tied to the board, usually spread-eagled with hands and feet at each corner. Sometimes 2 victims would be tied to the board, one at either end.
2?
One victim would be forced to watch as his friend was tortured and killed, then the same would be done to him.
Fuck.
Many victims died on the same day that they were captured. A violent, sex-fueled frenzy, ending with a bullet to the head or a slow strangulation. Others were kept strapped to the board for days on end. The more attractive Dean Cole found a boy, the longer he kept them alive.
Fuck. Man, he probably wish he was born chopped and shit. Like, that's fucked.
Exact details of what he did to his victims are hard to find, but the information we do have suggests a slow, meticulous torture designed to prolong the victim's suffering for as long as possible. The pulling out of pubic hairs one by one, the insertion of a large bullet-like object into the rectum. An electric motor with exposed wires was found in Cole's torture room, suggesting that electrocution also took place. Victims' mouths were stuffed with rags to muffle their screams as they were being tortured. Bodies were found with their genitals chewed up or severed with a knife. This photo shows some of his torture instruments. I've had to blur out part of it for YouTube, but if I said it was double-ended, you'd probably get an idea of what it is.
Yeah.
At the top of the picture, you can see what looks like some glass tubes, and this brings me on to the very worst thing that he did to them.
Urethra.
Possibly one of the worst tortures that I've ever heard of. He would slowly slide a glass rod down into their urethra. Then he would shatter the glass whilst it was still inside them.
Like I was saying before, man, this shit remind me of the fucking one man, one jar, bro. Look at what this motherfucker's doing. The same shit, just in the urethra, bro. And I just think one man, one jar was bad, bro, because he got glass in his booty hole. But this is worse, bro. What the fuck, bro? He put it and then he broke the glass in there. Ugh.
Then he would shatter the glass whilst it was still inside them. As I said at the beginning, there are certain acts that truly reveal the depth of a person's sadism, the genuine darkness present in their hearts. It makes me wonder, how exactly did he break the glass? Was it a slow squeeze, a twist?
Alright, bro, why are you wondering that shit?
Maybe he hit the area with a heavy object. I also wonder how long he kept them like that. How early on in their ordeal did they get that glass rod treatment? In days perhaps, hours at least. Unable to urinate, infection setting in.
Oh,
Any
man.
manipulation or movement of that area
Dude,
causing
why do you put that fucking edit, bro? That's so weird.
agonizing shooting pains. I imagine they were probably glad to be killed by the end of it.
You know what you doing, bro. You being fucked up by putting that fucking mustard.
Dean Cole's life and killing spree ended in 1973 when his accomplice Elmer Henley shot him 6 times. Henley then rang the police and confessed all. He eventually led police to 4 mass burial sites where a total of 28 bodies were recovered. However, it's thought that there are other burial sites with many more bodies, including under the floor of the old Cole family candy shop. I could go on talking about Dean Cole, but I think that would take a whole other video. But this isn't meant to be a deep dive on any of the killers that I've mentioned here today. It's more of an experimental video where I focus on one particular body part and all the horrible things that can be done to it. So I don't know if this video has worked, and that is the nature of experimentation, I suppose, but I hope you found it interesting at least.
Interesting? No, I found it disturbing as fuck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the worst torture I've ever heard of, and he was right. It is the worst shit I've ever heard of. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video once again. Peace.